Hello and welcome to the Banner Cloud ID System Setup and Configuration Tutorial Series. This is the second of several videos that will guide you through the setup process for our Premier Direct Cloud solution. In this video, we will cover the materials included with each monitoring gateway and how to prep the devices so that we can form a wireless node network using our commissioning process. In the next video, we will activate your Banner Cloud Data Services account and configure the software to accept data from the sensors in the node network. Now let's move on to unboxing one of these systems and getting it powered up and communicating to a network so that I can deliver data to our cloud. Let's first identify the items that are included with each gateway. You'll notice that we have our monitoring gateway controller, which is the focal point of these systems and contains the configuration files that automatically identify the nodes within the sensor network and then delivers that information to the cloud. You'll notice that there are a couple of antennas included with each gateway. Each antenna performs a specific function, so it is important to connect them to their respective SMA ports upon the device. The first antenna to make note of is the omnidirectional antenna for use with the local ISM radio network that we'll create in just a few moments. The length of this antenna will be respective of the radio frequency that was selected for this system. The antenna I have here is for the 900 MHz frequency range. There is a shorter antenna that will be included for the 2.4 GHz frequency range. Let's install this antenna upon the radio port of the gateway that is labeled R. Complete this action prior to powering on the device, as powering up the radio without an antenna may cause damage in some cases. So let's do that now, as I match the reverse polarity SMA connectors together and fasten until hand tight. If you have chosen to use cellular connectivity to communicate to our cloud, you must install the blade-style antenna onto the device as well. Install this antenna upon the LTE port of the gateway that is labeled L. If you have chosen to use the default connectivity method of Ethernet communication, then just leave this port as is with the protective cover tightened upon the SMA port. The next item you'll find is the specialized Ethernet cable. This is a double-ended cord set with an M12 threaded connector on one end and a standard RJ45 connector on the other end. Take the end with the M12 connector and match that up with the corresponding port on the gateway. Then insert the RJ45 end into an Ethernet port of the network you intend to use with this system. Please note that by default, these systems are set to communicate with the Ethernet setting for DHCP. We will cover how to set up a static IP for these devices in another video, and a tech note for this action is also available on our website. You will also find a quick start guide within the box that will describe the same steps I'm delivering to you now and can be reviewed if you prefer that medium. It is important to take note of the included card containing an authorization code upon it. This authorization code will be used in a later step when we activate the device on the Banner Cloud Data Services platform. So please set this aside for now and we'll cover that in the next video. Lastly, let's apply power to this device by connecting the included power supply to the controller by matching up the Euro M12 connector with the corresponding port on the device. Then plug the other end into a power outlet. The device will power on with the LCD display illuminating, and the clock in the top right corner of that display begins to count forward. After some time, you will notice that LED 2 flashes green about once a second. This is the heartbeat of the controller and indicates that the configuration files are running properly. The other two LEDs to make note of are the third and fourth LEDs. The third LED will illuminate blue when the controller is gathering information from the nodes in the network. This usually occurs just before the controller performs a data push to the cloud. The fourth LED will illuminate yellow when the device is in the process of pushing data to the cloud, and will turn off once the push is completed. Now let's move on to binding a few of our compatible sensors to the gateway radio to form a node network. The binding process is quite simple for these systems. The basic approach is to select a node ID on the controller and place it into binding mode. Then triple-click the button on the sensor node, allowing it to search for an available gateway and create an association between the two devices. We repeat this process by incrementing the node ID until you've bound all of your nodes to the system. I have an assortment of nodes here for the demonstration of this process. Let's start by navigating to the ISM radio on the main menu of the controller using the LCD screen. Use the up and down arrows to select ISM radio and press Enter to see the next menu. On the next screen, scroll down to Binding and press Enter. We'll discuss the site survey option in another video. On the next screen, You will see that we can select the node ID you wish to bind to. For the Banner Cloud ID systems, we can have up to 40 nodes bound to the system at one time. By using the up and down arrow buttons, we can select the ID for each node. We recommend beginning at ID 1 and then incrementing from there. So let's choose ID 1 and press Enter. You will see that the controller enters into binding mode. Now we move over to one of our compatible sensor nodes and open up the top cover to reveal the internal battery holder. Use a small screwdriver to pivot the battery holder out of the housing. Install the appropriate battery by matching the positive and negative terminals accordingly. Then reinsert the battery holder into the device with the proper orientation. You will see a red LED begin to blink. For wireless products, ensure that the node is at the appropriate minimum separation distance from the controller before triple-clicking the button. After triple-clicking the button, the node will take a moment to recognize the controller, and then both LEDs will blink 4 times in succession. The red LED will resume the same behavior as before. Now return to the controller and press the back button to exit the binding mode. A short time later, you will notice a green LED begins to flash, which indicates that the node and the controller are in sync and communicating properly. You may also notice a yellow LED begins to illuminate. This indicates that the sensor is in fast sampling mode. Fast sampling mode is a default functionality for many of our sensors that does not affect the operation of our Cloud ID systems in any way. You may ignore this behavior as the sensor will automatically exit fast sampling mode after 15 minutes, or you can turn it off manually by clicking the button 5 times in succession. Now let's move on to binding the next node using the same process. Simply establish a unique node ID each time. I will now complete the process on the rest of the nodes I have here. After completing the binding process on all of the devices, make sure you press the back button until you reach the main menu of the gateway. Then fasten the lid shut upon all of the nodes. Once that is done, we have completed all of the necessary steps in forming a sensor network with the Banner Cloud ID systems. Each one of the nodes are now sending data to the controller, and the gateway is ready to distribute that information to the cloud. So let's give that data a storage location by activating the device on the Banner Cloud Data Services platform in the next video. For more information regarding these products, please visit bannerengineering.com.